Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today I'm going to be doing my weekly wrap-up for the week ending January 4th, 2025. I want to wish everyone a happy new year, and a whole bunch of really wonderful reading events have begun this week, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about each of the events that I am participating in. First of all, the Proust readathon began on January 1st. This was initially organized by Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads. Randy Ray, the literate Texan, might be an organizer of this as well. I know that the discussion is taking place on Greg's Discord. But the plan, or Greg's plan, is to read all of Proust's In Search of Lost Time during the course of 2025. I have committed to volume 1 for sure, Swann's Way. And this is this volume we're reading during January and into February. I think we're scheduled to finish this February 22nd. So it's really a 2-month event. That's what I've committed to. We'll see how this goes, and then, after, or as we approach the end of volume 1, I'll determine whether I'm going to keep going for the rest of the year, or whether I'll come back to this at another time, or what I'm going to do. I committed to volume 1. And everyone started on January 1st, and we have a very thoughtful and lively discussion going already on Discord. So more about that as the months progress. I'm also participating, at least for this month, in Angelia's Read and Reread at her event, Endless Drama. And Angelia created an event where we will be reading plays, 2 plays a month throughout 2025. The first play for January is George Bernard Shaw's Pygmalion, and I am reading this with the group this month. This is a reread for me. This is a play that I actually used to teach, so it's a play that I've read many times. This is the play, as most of you probably know, that My Fair Lady was based on. It's just a delightful play. This is the story of Eliza Doolittle, a very poor young woman who is selling flowers on the street when she is basically discovered by Professor Henry Higgins and Colonel Pickering. These are 2 linguists and experts in phonetics, and Eliza, has aspirations of being a lady who works in a flower shop. She doesn't want to be selling flowers on the street for the rest of her life. And these 2 men take her on as a project of sorts. And they make a bet, to see whether or not they can pass her off as a duchess by a particular date. And then present her to society and see if, she can fool everybody. I love this play. This is a play. It's a comedy that offers a great deal of social commentary on early 20th century English life. And again, we have also a very lively and thoughtful discussion going on Discord. In my desire to read classic science fiction, I have joined an event that also, this event has been going on for a year prior to January, but I have joined this January, and this is a year-long, now it'll be a 2-year-long readathon of all of the works, or many of the works, of Clifford D. Simak. This group was started by Sean D. Standfast, and he has a whole group of people that he's been reading with for at least the last year. And they have kindly allowed me to join in. This month, the month of January, the reading is Simak's novel, The Goblin, Reservation. I don't have a lot of experience with Simak. I have read City, which maybe is his, I think that might be his most famous novel, and I've also read Way Station, but that's all that I know. And this is a man who's written I don't know how many novels. Sean could tell us, but many novels. So I'm coming to this with very little experience and knowledge of Simak, just that I know that I really liked what I read last year, and so. I'm jumping in almost cold, but I'm already having a lot of fun with The Goblin Reservation. This is a novel that was written in 1968, and I think this paperback was published in 1968. I bought this used, obviously. This is. Nope, this is not the first printing. This is the third printing. So this edition is from 1970. The book was written in 1968. This is the tale of a Professor Peter Maxwell, and it takes place sometime in the distant future. There are creatures from all over the galaxy who have come to Earth to study, and something special about Earth in the future is that there is this university called Time University, where creatures, people, and others can travel through time into the past in order to study the past. Well, Peter Maxwell, I'm about a third of the way through the novel right now, so this is just what I know from what I've read so far. Peter Maxwell has returned to Earth to discover that he has died. Several of his friends all attended his funeral, and so they're really surprised when they see him walking and talking and obviously alive. He discovers that he has actually been copied somehow by aliens. And so while he is here on Earth, has returned to Earth, there is a version of him that, in fact, has died. And now he sets out to discover, what's going on and who may have wanted him dead. I'm just having a lot of fun with this. I don't know if this is characteristic of Simak's work, but I'm finding this really delightful. There's a Neanderthal man who is brought back from the past, and there's also a ghost who's just referred to as Ghost. He doesn't know where he's come from or who he is the ghost of, at least not at this point in the novel. And these are two of the main characters so far, and they're two of the friends of Maxwell. And they join forces with him and a couple other characters to try to discover what has happened and why. So I've said in a couple of videos that I'm looking for some reading that will bring me some comfort and some joy in 2025, and this novel so far is absolutely fitting the bill. The Pinero project continues. This week, everyone is finishing reading Thursday night Widows, and I believe this weekend we will have our, we'll wrap up our discussion of this. This is now the third Pinero novel that I've read since we began this project of reading all of her works that have been translated into English. So this is the third. This is the first, I don't know if it's her first novel, but it's the first novel of hers that was translated into English. I'm not going to really talk about the book until after the group has wrapped up, our discussion of it, but I can say that I've struggled with aspects of this novel. This is probably right now my least favorite of the three. I think my favorite is Time of the Flies. My second would be All Yours. Time of the Flies is a sequel to All Yours, and then this is coming in last right now. But maybe our final discussion will convince me. Will change my mind about it. But it was a struggle for me. We're taking a week off. We're going to have a gap week, and then in the middle of January, we're going to pick up with our fourth book, and this is Elena Knows. And we're going to read this over the course of a week. This is a really, really short novel. It's less than 150 pages long, and the whole story takes place during the course of a single day. So we thought that this would be a good one for us to read quickly. There's a number of people in this group who have also already read this. This was many people's introduction to Pinero. And so they're going to kind of be doing a quick skim or a quick reread. But for some of us, we've never read this before, so this will be a first. I'm really looking forward to this one. This is the one that everybody kind of talks about when they talk about Claudia Pinero. This was in the running last year, not last year, 2022. It was shortlisted for the International Booker Prize. So I'm really looking forward to that one, and I'll be talking about that in about 2 weeks. As I've mentioned before, I'm reading with my in-person book group, Louise Erdrich's The Mighty Red. And this is her newest novel. We're meeting in mid-January, so I will talk about that. I'll review that novel after my group has had a chance to finish the book and we've had a chance to meet to talk about it. But just a brief overview of it. It is set in North Dakota's Red River Valley during the recession of 2008. This is the story of Crystal and her daughter Kismet, who are members of the Ojibwe tribe. Kismet is in high school when the novel opens. Her mother, Crystal, works for the Geist family, who are very big landowners. The Geist son, Gary, is a football player, and he's hopelessly in love with Kismet. He, in fact, wants to marry her, and he proposes to her in the opening chapters of the novel. Kismet is in a relationship with him, but she's also in a relationship with another friend, Hugo, who is not in school with them. He is homeschooled, and he is this absolutely brilliant young person, and he is also determined to have a life with her. Crystal doesn't want Kismet to marry Gary. She doesn't think he's good enough for her, and she tells her daughter that very early on. Hugo becomes determined to become very wealthy and very successful in an effort to win over Kismet and woo her away from Gary. So there is this love triangle going on, but Louise Erdrich always writes about a lot of other concerns as well, and environmental concerns are paramount in most of her novels, and this one is no different. We've got toxic pesticides being used on the land. We have contaminated land, contaminated soil, contaminated water. We have the effects of fracking and mining in this novel as well. But I'll talk about it in more detail after my group has had a chance to finish it and to meet and talk about it. This week I also did a Poetry Thursday episode. This one was in response to a request from my good friend Stuart at Stuart Griffin 1001. Who asked for some poetry about birds. I easily could have done several episodes of poetry about birds, so there might be more coming sometime in the future, but that was what I did for this past Thursday. I still have a couple more requests that have come from people, so they should keep me busy for the next couple of Poetry Thursdays anyway. And if anybody watching, has been paying attention to my Poetry Thursdays, if there's a topic you would like me to discuss, to read poetry about, please let me know in the comments. You can let me know in the comments here as well. I'm also participating in some other events that are going to be year-long events, and I have books picked out, or there's a book that's being read for this month for one of the events that I'm just getting started on. I want to participate where I can in Mariandrea's at Books and Bocadillos, at her Books and Bocadillos book club, which is a book club that's going to be reading Latina novels all year long. And actually, as it turned out, I think this first year, all of the books are by Latina writers. So the first novel that we're reading for January, and I'm going to just start it this weekend because I will be finished with George Bernard Shaw and the Simak novel. I'm going to start Valeria Luiselli's Lost Children Archive. And this is also being discussed in a Discord group. I mentioned in another video that I have hopes of participating in Historathon this year, and I also wanted to participate in Robert G. Reader of Books reading event on reading about Roman emperors. I was originally going to start with Emperor of Rome, Mary Beard's book, and I received this as a Christmas gift this year. This is from my brother. I was going to start with that because it so obviously would fit both the first quarter of Historathon and Robert G's reading event. But then I thought it probably would make more sense for me as a novice in this area to start with an a history of ancient Rome, and that's Mary Beard's SPQR. And so I just started this week, and this is both of these are chunkers, so I think they'll keep me busy certainly for the first quarter of Historathon. So I have a lot going on, a lot on my plate, but all good things. It's a very full month, but I feel like I'm off to a really good start. So, as always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.